Salutations! Today I'm going to be talking about the Native American experience and the literary tradition. And this is something that really kind of hit home for me because I'm a classicist and a literary modernist, and at least that's how I identify myself as a studier of English. And therefore, I am always aware of the root of Western literature, which is oral tradition. And I'm kind of fascinated when I see crossovers in other cultures which use these same ideas that we saw in the earliest of the Homeric epics, whether that be the Odyssey or the Iliad, or even in the Homeric hymns. Uh, Thus, when we say what are some of the characteristics of Navajo and Pueblo oral tradition, it's important to remember that these are cultures that did not use writing. There was no orthographic experience for them. Instead, that's a foreign concept and one that was brought on by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants from Northern Europe. And as a result, it is automatically foreign, the idea of literature in the way that we think of it as the written word. Instead, for them, literature was spread exclusively through storytelling, through the tradition of telling stories, typically around the fire at night. These are entertainment predecessors. This is the entertainment before there is even a book, before there's a novel. Forget television or the internet or anything like that. This is the most basic. People sitting around and telling stories and putting them into a formula of some sort to make them repetitive and follow certain key characteristics which become culturally definitive. And we definitely see that with Navajo and Pueblo oral tradition. Uh, in what sense do these writers draw on native oral traditions and beliefs? And so when we see people writing in the modern age, they are writing in every sense of the word a foreign script. The language itself is foreign, it is English. The format of writing down literature or recording it or anything like that, these were automatically extemporaneous and extracultural compared with the Pueblo and Navajo traditions. Uh, so they do draw on the native traditions of looking at the earth and the belief in some ways that uh, the knowledge of culture and history is indigenous, inherent, native, something that you are born with and that you discover by being one with the world around you. And that oneness, that interconnectivity is very much highlighted throughout the more modern uh, Pueblo and Navajo traditions of literature. So, how did these speak to being an American Indian? Again, a lot of this has to do with the cultural concepts of the Native American, and particularly the idea of worshiping natural phenomenon as evidence of divinity. So, the earth is a god, the sky is a god, the world around them is controlled by this pantheistic, polytheistic uh, set of deities, which are all reflective of their natural environment. And we see that continue in modern replication of these ancient oral traditions. And so this is kind of the underlying diction of Navajo and Pueblo writing is the idea of this pantheistic, everything is part of one giant divine being concept. When it comes to what does their written literature hope to do or achieve, it's important here that we look at the word written literature because we're talking about, as I said before, a foreign, an extra cultural format here. Their literature was supposed to be told, passed down from generation orally without writing, and therefore, by writing it down, that's an acquiescence in some way to Western culture. Similarly, the fact that it's written in English makes it a multicultural, extra cultural experience right from the outset. And therefore, one of the things that they are trying to achieve, whether this is overtly stated or not, is to create some parity in these cultures, to use the tools of Western culture to better explore Native American culture. And I think it's successful, and I think that's what makes it so compelling to listen, watch, and read these reenactments, these recreations, these reinventions of both Native Pueblo and Native Navajo oral poetry.